Andrew said, "As we, the 12 disciples, were entering into a Gentile temple with our Lord, that he might make plain to us the ignorance of the devil, it happened that the chief priests, seeing us following after Jesus, chided us. 'Oh, you wretches, why do you walk with the one who says that he's the Son of God? Are you trying to say that God has a son? Which of you has ever seen God in the presence of a woman? Is not this the son of Joseph the carpenter? And is not Mary his mother? Are not James and Simon his brothers?' And when we heard these words, our hearts all sank. And Jesus, knowing that our hearts were giving way, took us aside to a secluded spot, and performed amazing miracles before us there, showing his Godhead to us all. Then we appealed to the chief priests, saying, 'You must also come and see, for he has persuaded us.' And the chief priests followed us. Now after we had entered into the Gentile temple, Jesus brought the heavens into view to assure us that these things were true. Now 30 men from the temple went in with us, attended by 4 of the chief priests. And Jesus, looking over the right and left-hand sides of the temple, caught sight of 2 sculpted sphinxes, one to the right and the other to the left. And turning to us, Jesus said, 'Behold, this is like the sign of the cross, for these are even as the cherubim and seraphim are in heaven.' Then he looked at the sphinx on the right and said, 'I say to you, image of what is in heaven, that which the hands of artisans have sculpted, leave your place and come down to give answer to the high-ranking priests and convict them, and reveal to them whether I am truly God or just a man.' At that moment the sphinx got up from its spot, and in a human voice proclaimed to them, 'O you senseless sons of Israel, not only have these people not been content with the blinding of their hearts, but they long for others to be blind like them, who ascribe human qualities to God. First of all, God made man and breathed his breath into all that live, giving movement to what had never moved. He is the one who summoned Abraham, cherished his son Isaac, and brought his beloved Jacob back into his land, and revealed himself to him in the wilderness, and made a great many things for him. It was he who led them forth and gave them water gushing from a rock. He is the judge of the living and the dead. He is the one who prepares great blessings for those who obey him, and devises punishments for those who don't. So do not think of me as some mere idol that can be handled, for indeed I say to you that the temples are better than your synagogues. Now even though we are but stones, the priests themselves have called us gods, and those priests who serve at the temple purify for fear of the demons. For if they have had relations with women, they purify for 7 days. It is because of us that they do not enter into the temple, on account of the fear that they show for the name that they have given us, that is to say, the name of God. But as for you, after you have fornicated, you take up the law of God, go right into the synagogue of God, purify, and then recite, showing no respect for the glorious words of God. I am telling you that because of this, the temples are going to fare better than your synagogues, such that they too will become churches of his only begotten Son.' After the Sphinx had spoken this, it fell silent. And we said to the high-ranking priests, 'It would now be fitting for you to believe, for even the stones have convicted you.' 'These stones,' the Jews replied, 'have only spoken through magic, so don't go thinking that it's a god. See, if you had put the words of this stone to the test, you would have recognized its trickery. For where did he meet Abraham, or how did he lay eyes on him? Abraham died a great many years before this man ever lived, so how could he have possibly known him?' And Jesus again turned to the image and said, 'Since these men do not believe that I have spoken to Abraham, go out into the land of the Canaanites, to the double cave in the field of Mamre, where the body of Abraham lies, and cry aloud before the tomb, Abraham, Abraham, whose body rests in the sepulchre, and whose soul rests in paradise. He who fashioned you and made you his friend from the beginning says this, you and your son Isaac, and Jacob also, the son of your son, rise up now and go to the temples of the Jebusites, so that we might convict the chief priests, that they might come to understand that I know you and that you know me.' And the Sphinx, on hearing these words, immediately passed before us all, and she set off for the land of the Canaanites, to the field of Mamre, and there cried out before the tomb as Jesus had commanded her. And the 12 patriarchs suddenly came out alive, and inquired of the Sphinx, 'To which of us have you been sent?' I have been sent as a sign to the 3 patriarchs, the Sphinx replied. But go back and rest until the time of the resurrection. And as soon as they heard this, they went back in and fell asleep. And the 3 patriarchs set out with the Sphinx to meet Jesus, where they then convicted the chief priests. Jesus then ordered them, "Go back to your places," and off they went. "Return to your post," he commanded the image, and she went back up and stood in her spot. And he also worked many other wonders, but they never came to believe in him. And if I were to describe these things to you, you would no doubt think they were untrue.